For casuals, Ezra Robinson is best known simply as Isaac's brother. That's despite being on the tour longer, the youngest ever to not only qualify but compete at USDGC, and an all-star in his own right. Heading into the 2024 season, Ezra, in a contract year, was looking to stamp his presence further in the current game landscape by battling for wins, some statement performances to become not only a top 10 talent, but one of the premier free agents this offseason. I'm Swiss Cheese with the Disc Golf World, the YouTube channel for all your fast-hitting disc golf news. Jefferson might not be here, but we got yet another Discmas video for the masses. Before I dive into yet another player profile, this one featuring the man who honestly might be a little too into Pirates of the Caribbean. Allow me first to thank those on the Patreon page for making this Discmas happen. Can't forget you watching, and to all those who are able to snag some hats. From the bottom of my heart, thanks for your support. And while we're on the subject, support the channel by hitting that subscribe button if you already haven't. Guys, it's free. That Elite Series win might have evaded Ezra for another year, but it wasn't for the lack of trying, nearly pulling a Bills by finishing second 3 times on the season. Still added another podium, a third at Champions Cup, his best finish at a major in his career, and had 9 top 10 finishes on top of that. That performance had him finishing 7th in tour points despite missing that win. In a season that saw Ezra move from budding up-and-comer to an established pro pushing for victories. And that all began at this year's Doomed Champions Cup that featured 4 rounds at one of the sport's most difficult tracks in Northwood Black, made even worse with poor weather, delays, sloppy conditions, and postponed rounds. And through all that, Ezra became one of the rooting favorites, shredding those woods, hitting fairways and similar lines to his brother, but in a far different way. Isaac with a more controlled and calculated approach, while Ezra instead seemed to try to punish the course with each throw, charging every round with far more reckless abandon and emotion for that matter than Isaac. Ezra moved up the leaderboard each day and headed into the final round tied for second and only a stroke off the leader Andrew Presnell, trying to have brothers go back-to-back at the same major. Ezra's slow start never really had him push for the win, and would actually need to battle to finish even for the day, in what was his worst round over the 4 days and had him drop down to third, only to head out west from there where Ezra would have yet another signature moment during that swing. This one battling nearly everyone in the entire field, and more importantly his friend, Gannon Buhr, who just might have iced the clock and Ezra on 18 with his approach from the rough on his way to back-to-back wins. Now, in no way, shape do I truly believe that, but it was beyond 30 seconds, and somebody needs to fuel the Buhr haters. I guess it will be me. There was a ton of action with charges from Chase Card, with several players in the running and disasters late. The stage was set early, as this was one of the tightest tournaments on the season. The final round had 5 players only separated by a single stroke. Ezra was right there besides other names in Humphreys, Vinny, Gannon, and Ricky. It would all come down late between Ezra and Gannon, where he was just 2 Circle 2 looks from pushing a playoff and ended up losing by 1. Went to European Open, placed 7th there, and took second again to Gannon at Ledgestone. Though the following week at Idlewild is where he made more noise, scoring 8 birdies on the final 9 holes to push himself all the way into second place from Chase Card, his second in back-to-back events. And with it, Ezra's popularity grew, got another top 10 at Worlds, and capped his season with his largest payday of his career. While everyone was paying attention to Gannon and Ricky's battle at the Tour Championship, Ezra was just out there throwing Papa John putters into the basket to quietly take third and a 12 grand payday. And I'm sorry, Brody, you may not want to talk about A tiers, but I will, because Ezra only notched a podium finish in all 7 events he played, including 3 wins. He had 1 at De La at the Santa Cruz Masters Cup and the last Q Series stop Jacksonville Open, where he shot an 18 under round and notched a career achievement also. That round only came in at 1100 rated and had him become only the 35th person to accomplish that feat. And most importantly, a stat to hold over his bro Isaac. Man, A-tier talk and ratings, Brody might have just turned this video off. For most of the season, the looming free agency of the brothers hung on most fans' minds. Why not? The narratives fuel themselves. With questions on whether or not the brothers would be looking to land new contracts with the same manufacturer, split, or stay with Prodigy, which didn't seem likely at the start of the season, let alone after Isaac's second world championship, or Ezra for that matter after that season. We here at the Disc Golf World kind of put that off-season chatter to rest, with us reporting Ezra inked a 2-year deal with Discraft with no word of Isaac joining him. Sure, there hasn't been an announcement, and Ezra did not confirm in a Brody interview. But Brody and Yuli kind of did enough during that Tour Life broadcast, no? But let's just play devil's advocate here, and Ezra, if you're listening, it's only a reference. If Discraft placed a 2-year offer, which is pretty much their standard practice for the bulk of their elite team offers, another manufacturer would need to come up with more years or dollars to compete. Where exactly do you think that comes from? Sure, Prodigy fans might believe their favorite brand have the dollars with Isaac and most of their roster gone. I just don't agree. And that's not me even considering player disc royalty disputes that have clouded that manufacturer for years. Or the fact I just believe Isaac has a better chance to return to Prodigy than Ezra. Innova made its moves during the season and will most likely re-sign the squad they have, but does have the dollars to be in play here. Yet if the offers are close, wouldn't most lean towards the better marketing of Discraft at this point? Sure, Innova's discs sell, but Discraft is far more likely to take Ezra's brand to further heights. MVP guys, I'm sorry you had to wait this long, but you guys should be kinda used to it by now. I mean, you spend the entire year waiting for stock runs all the time. And if not, how about new Simon releases or mystery box season? Yes, MVP's got the money, but also a loaded roster with the game's top name talent, which seems to be enough for them. I could see them inquiring about Isaac on a solo or maybe both of the brothers if they wanted to stay together, but not necessarily for Ezra on an individual contract. There's House of Discs, who has everyone believing they have some of the fattest wallets in the sport to sign some major contracts this offseason. That's just after landing the largest target last year. However, what we've seen, that wallet gets so tight it squeaks when filling out the remaining roster spots. For the business majors, it's understandable, as they still have large contracts that were on the books prior to their acquisition into disc golf. Add the disc market slipping after COVID, I can see House of Disc either filling their roster with multiple players who should become available or continue to do what they have done for a couple years now. That's further shrink the roster and maybe sign one premier contract, which will kind of leave them targeting Isaac over Ezra. So Ezra, enjoy Discraft, and for everyone else, be on the lookout for a knockoff Robinson Falcon jersey. And it kind of plays. As for the 2025 outlook, after so many second place finishes, will we see a season like AB, where he finally gets over the hurdle for his first Elite Series win, taking yet another step in progression? Or Gossage, who after coming so close to winning at multiple events in 2023, was only able to score a single podium in 2024 and never really in contention? Throw in a new disc lineup that has seen pros react very differently in that first year with a new manufacturer. No matter the brand, Ezra should stay near the top of the game in fairway hit percentage, where he finished second among all the pros this year. And if he can continue to stay near the top 10 and nearly all the other stats off the tee, should be enough to get him back to the Tour Championship. But to take his game to the next level, he will need to increase his putting percentage from C1X especially. An improvement there just to 1% should possibly find him get a win or two. Well, guys, let's scratch off another day of Dismiss. I'm grabbing a drink. If you have enjoyed and not subscribed, make sure to do so. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and tell your buddies.